Well, I mean, that I just don't even have words.
Frankly, U.S. soccer owes us an apology. Two fucking games against Costa Rica, 6 goals against, not one for, and our two best defenders had probably their two worst games of between those two. Our two best central defenders had probably their two worst games in U.S. uniforms. Everything about this was terrible tonight. When you add it up to this was now both games of the qualification round, this was pathetic. I mean, honestly, to put this to the rest of the shit in my soccer life, between the shit poor defending and the absolute ineptitude to break down 10
Oh
men in the
yeah,
box, you would have thought I was watching Arsenal.
it looked like it. It looked like it.
Uh,
Um,
um,
and on top of that, I mean, people are debating the ref. It's obviously the ref missed a penalty, but the
Look,
ref doesn't
my feeling is the ref
explain.
missed two penalties, but in the end,
We still should have won. Like we
yeah,
didn't.
yeah, he was pathetic. He was terrible. But he actually, for the most part, wasn't just terrible to us. I mean, yeah, there certainly are. I think the heavier of the worst calls came in
Maybe
favor of
he didn't
Costa
give
Rica,
Dempsey a
but
red. I mean,
but
it's he wasn't the worst. He missed a big call, like a very, very big, obvious penalty at the beginning. He wasn't great
this should have
throughout,
been
but
it should
it's
have been a
not.
red
It,
too.
it's not. I mean, if you go back and put that,
Their first goal should have been a handball that was called before the
yeah,
if it's Ruiz, I can't remember whoever had the assist. He collects that ball with his arm. The ref let that go, and he's the one who makes the assist that then they score. So that goal shouldn't have counted. Um, Now you can argue they should have scored other ways, whatever. We should have presumably had a goal from a penalty, but okay, fine. Nonetheless,
we were terrible.
at least, yeah,
And
at least in the like 60 yards or so in the middle of the field, he was calling the shit out of Costa Rica. He just wasn't calling
which was
anything on
really
them within
strange.
30 yards of
Even
either goal. Well,
everything that through the middle of the field was a whistle immediately, but um, it's not. It wasn't the ref's fault. I mean, it's when you go out and give a performance like that, a dog shit performance where it's you seem to lack heart or something. It just seemed like something was off the entire match. Um,
yeah.
and that's on us. And I mean, to their credit, Keeler Navas was outstanding. Two huge saves. Exactly what you expect from that guy. Um, and overall, just it Costa Rica was outworking us. They were on us instantly all the time. And we were happy to drag our feet at times. And another performance that makes me wonder why I still think highly of Fabian Johnson. And
Yeah,
and
he's not
maybe
had a good 2017.
maybe he just needs to move to left back, and we get Villafana out of there, and we figure something else out on the left. Maybe maybe you put Deuce in the middle, Pulisic on the right, and Nagby on the left or something. But Fabian wasn't around a lot. Like he didn't seem like he was actively involved. Bradley was picking up the ball as deep as humanly possible. Bradley was basically
Yeah,
like
he
so
was
deep
basically
that
playing sweeper.
yeah, exactly. He's playing behind the center backs a lot of the
Yeah,
time. The center backs were even Cameron, who we both love, was not good. He was lollygagging on the first goal that Ream got worked on.
yeah.
It seemed like Howard was a little shifted out of position,
Oh,
but
Howard definitely went too far to the end line. I mean that, and perhaps was too close to his goal. Like didn't truly challenge that ball. He did not take a good angle on that. That when you see kind of the two shots that the Pulisic shot and sort of I guess you could say that Josie kind of shot at the end where like he had two defenders on him and
yeah,
Navas was 2 feet from him or 3 feet from him or something. You see the difference there. How he saved the one on Pulisic, I'm not sure. I mean, it wasn't a super hard shot, especially with kind of the deflection, but still, like he got an arm and a leg there. I mean, that was like a hockey goalie save.
it was
That was impressive. I can't even fault him there. Like good on you. Like, I got to stand and salute that guy. But yeah, Howard's was the opposite of that, effectively. And I hate to be the one to blame goalies, because in the end, the defender shouldn't have allowed it to get to that point. The referee should have called it 45 yards up the field. But nonetheless, no, that was a poor save on his part, or lack of save.
Just the person, when we're talking about referees being at fault and goalies being at fault at times, I think TJ is the guy you want to talk to, and he is now here. TJ, I mean, that was I don't even know what to say. That was terrible. I can't hear you, buddy. You got to get the mic.
You got to turn your mic on or something.
Yeah, turn the mic on. That usually does it.
Yeah, it does help. All right, I'm ready for Chris tonight. Chris and his referee opinions tonight. We're all set for that.
He was actually, I mean, he called the ref out on a few bad calls, but he was actually fairly kind to the ref. He was blaming us.
My feeling was the middle 60 yards of the field, the referee was like pro-US. It was in the final third on each end that he was pro-Costa Rica. Now, I can wash that away, and I can even say that besides the first penalty and red card that weren't called, and the handball that wasn't called on their goal, I'm willing to kind of, okay, fine. Those were early enough in the match. There were enough other things to happen that I'm willing to go, fine. It's not like he was just hammering the U.S. throughout. It's not like, I mean, I will say Josie's yellow card should have been a yellow for a dive the other way, or you give 2 yellows. That was bullshit. But beyond that, there wasn't a lot that I just felt was like, oh, he's just screwing the U.S. He just wasn't a competent referee. Now, maybe there is a bit of, hey, he was from Panama. Panama kind of needs the U.S.
That should not be happening
to lose tonight. But yeah,
I don't.
Oh yeah.
I don't think that's the case. I don't think it's a case of that he was. Panama needs the points, so I'm gonna.
I don't either.
I hate to agree with Chris on the referees, because it makes the show less exciting, but incompetence the word. He was not qualified to do that game. That game, as much as it's even more painful to say, it probably should be done from somebody who does Liga MX, because it has to come from the Confederation. So at that point, the only one who's qualified, somebody who does, Club America and Chivas, games like that. I mean, somebody who is used to that.
And tonight, maybe Mexico doesn't cheat us, because realistically, they don't have to worry about us anymore.
No, and
like, we're not catching.
I've told some of them are El Tri fans. You guys damn well better get us that Sanzusi goal back if we need it this qualification round. We bailed you out in 2014. You better bail us out this time if we need it. But the one guy I was talking to said there's no way they would. Mexico would deliberately not score if they knew that.
Oh,
would
absolutely,
be the case.
absolutely. So, they would go score an own goal or something, like just to screw us over.
So, I mean, what do you do? I think
no, Gerardo. We're not saying it's the referee's fault. We're just saying the referee was shit.
Costa Rica was fantastic.
No,
tonight.
This was not the referee's fault.
US
no,
Costa Rica was fantastic.
The referee was bad. I mean, and like I said, when you think of where the referees are going to come from, your best referees in the Confederation are going to come from the United States. They're going to come from Mexico, and they're going to come from probably Costa Rica next. So that really does narrow your options. Maybe Canada. Maybe Canada's got a few that do MLS and, maybe USL that could, but you're limited as who's qualified for it. But as bad as he was in giving Josie a yellow or the guy, I agree, Chris, he deserved a yellow for the dive. That was the first thing I saw was like, oh, he didn't get Deuce a red for throwing the elbow. So
he should have. Yeah, exactly. I mean, that was. And
was that in the final 10 minutes? I walked away.
Yes, Deuce threw an elbow right at the,
no clue.
The big
I
dude's
was like,
face.
I'm done. I didn't change the channel because I had kids to put to bed, so I just went and did that instead.
Yeah,
I don't give a shit anymore.
It should have been a straight red for him, and he only got a yellow. So it was. I mean, it seemed like also tonight Costa Rica kind of employed the same game plan that Mexico did on Pulisic, which is just physically frustrate him the entire match and make sure that he's overly marked.
They were triple teaming him from the beginning. Like, if you want to get an idea of, is this kid good, who got triple teamed from kickoff?
And even when, we had Pulisic starting out wide, but he was inside more often than not. And
he was cutting in every time.
Back outside, stepping on his feet, stepping on his ankles, just the little stuff that just is going to add up. So,
but when that's their playmaker, that's what you do.
Exactly. It's smart. It's
Yeah.
it's exactly right. They had a good game plan tonight and it worked. And Keylor Navas was outstanding when he needed to be the few times. And Urania scored the couple of nice goals. And I did find it funny that the two, for all the shit we give MLS guys over European guys, our two central defenders were European, and the guy who scored the 2 goals is an MLS player. So, just a funny little thing there. But yeah, it was Costa Rica was strong and seemed like from the get go they knew exactly what they were doing, and it seemed like from the get go we felt off. Like Chris said,
I mean,
didn't feel like watching Arsenal. It felt like a team that just was off and poorly managed and didn't give a shit. I don't know that that's the case with everyone. I doubt it, but it felt like it.
We haven't, particularly the U.S. in particular, has a problem of when a team plays very good, like very solid 10-man, 11-man defense, and we can't control the midfield. And when we have kind of when we don't have enough guys in the midfield to sort of overrun them, what happens is inevitably Bradley drops back, especially also when we have kind of a weak back line going again, which shades of Klinsmann here, starting a new defensive pair. Bradley ends up dropping too far back. Whoever his partner is ends up inevitably too far forward. And now the defenders are passing backwards, or they're making a square pass to Bradley. And then now we're 20 yards or something to get to Nagbe, or Nagbe's dropping too far back. And then, he's got to play a 40 or 50-yard ball to try and beat the defenders that way. And everything gets out of shape. You end up losing the entire midfield. And we weren't strong enough to attack down the wings. We weren't fast enough to attack down the wings, which is really surprising considering the kind of ball control and speed we had out there. But, one of the things I saw, we had a lot of guys who were willing to dribble, but we had a lot of guys who were dribbling maybe when they should have been passing. In most cases, when you have that many guys behind the ball, you can't out-dribble 11 men. I mean, Messi can't out-dribble. Maybe Messi can out-dribble 11 guys, but nobody else can out-dribble 11 guys. You're not going to do it. And when you slow the ball down so much because you got all those guys stacked up that they can keep just moving the defense back with it. And so you have to pass, you have to play balls, you have to pull the defenders out and then try to, cut through that space or play the ball over the top to beat them. And we weren't doing any of that.
It seemed like at least when they did go over the top, it was relative. That seemed like the best plan of attack at all. At least in the second half, that seemed to be. You had to play it. You had to play long. Mm-hmm. You had to play direct, and it seemed to.
We were better at that in the second half.
But sometimes that's just the way the flow of the game is going to go. They couldn't play through the midfield. There was no. The midfield was 7 or 8 red shirts, and that's hard to get through for anybody. And like you said, they weren't going wide, and with Pulisic ducking inside so often, that really did take away wing play there. And then anytime he did get the ball, he got beaten up, and that's going to happen to him. So they've got to find a plan B outside of Pulisic, or some way to have another approach. And do they have it?
We certainly didn't tonight.
And now we're in a position where Bruce was probably going to be happy to play for the point and just play it safe on Tuesday, and now you can't. I mean, I know that the Hex is incredibly forgiving. I know we're probably still going to qualify, but I think you have to win now. You have to at least get 3 points out of this round.
We called this game a must-win because at some point you have to start getting the points. You have to lock some things up because, I think they were saying on ESPN tonight that there's still an 80% chance that we qualify even with a loss tonight. Okay. However, what does that number drop to should we not get a win Tuesday night? Lord Drago, I think, winter's coming. I think pretty much winter is here. This is the winter of our discontent. This is not looking good. We are now, I was kind of running some of the numbers before we were starting this. Mexico, presuming they win tonight, moves on to 20 points. 17 points. Costa Rica's at 14 now. We're sitting at 8. Panama stays at 7 if they, assuming they lose. Honduras is up, last I checked, 2-0 over TNT. They're going to move. They're going to move even with us tonight. Then, so we're going to Honduras, who will now be tied with us in 3rd place. Maybe ahead of us. I don't know what goal differential will be. I haven't charted that, and I haven't or anything like that. But so they may be ahead of us at least on goal differential. But we now have to try and win on the road there. You know, yeah, we won 6-0 the last time we played them, but it was a home game, and yeah, anything can happen. But in CONCACAF, we have to win. We have to get points out of this round. You can't leave this until the till next month.
A lot of people. We've got. Go ahead.
We've got Panama at home and then TNT on the road. I guess there's a chance that we could have another shattered around the world game where it's going to come down to TNT away. But where's Paul Caligiuri when we need him?
A lot of people are asking about the venue choice. I thought the crowd was actually fairly pro-US, and the game took the US fans out of it.
Yeah, I think the big problem was that Costa Rica was winning. We looked like shit. So yeah I think Costa Rica fans got louder.
Here's the thing: if we've never played a qualifier in the New York area, and that's ridiculous to me, and I understand why, because everybody from everywhere around the world lives in New York, and they always show up. But at some point, I think you've got to play in New York, and I think it was time, and maybe it was the wrong choice as far as the crowd. But do we really think that with the way we played, it was, and the way Costa Rica was set up tactically, and do we really think it was the crowd? I don't. I just think that the US fans got taken out of the game by the scoreline, and you could hear the Costa Ricans waving their flags. And I know Taylor Twellman was bitching about it in like the 85th minute, but I'm like, they're up 2-0. Of course they're excited. Like of course they're loud. Of course they're moving down as we leave. It's what you expect. So no, I think we should not be afraid to play. I'm tired of playing qualifiers in Columbus and Kansas City. I think we should move them to our major cities.
I'm not tired of playing them in Columbus, but
I am. It's a high school stadium at this point.
Kansas City, yeah.
I mean,
Kansas City, I'm kind of tired of because it's just so remote.
Harrison, New Jersey sucks, but that stadium is outstanding. So
that stadium is beautiful. Yeah.
So is the one in Kansas City, though. To be fair.
I know what it's let's go play them in the white areas, like that's what we do. And it's like, no, show up, play in New York, do it. Like you've got to be able to do it.
That is kind of the next challenge, is to win over these areas where we know there's a large percentage of people from that, whatever country it is we're playing. And in theory, maybe it's the next qualification cycle, maybe it's 8 years from now, I think we should be able to do that much more effectively. Maybe not Mexico. I mean, that one's going to take a long time, but in most of these cases, we've got the talent coming up that we can start winning over more fans, more casual fans, more than just kind of the hardcore U.S. full-time followers, supporters, whatever. But whatever, we got to get to those points, and we're not looking like we're going to make it right now.
And Poonslayer, and I'm using that just so I get to say it. He has a good point. $100 for tickets, $40 to park minimum. You're pricing a lot of people out.
Yeah.
We've talked about that before. I mean, I know with the Columbus game, the game in Columbus was one of the problems. And what were our seats were $60-$70, and they were on the ends. I mean, or were they more than that?
90.
Yeah,
90? Okay.
I was gonna say I think they were 90 each, 95. I can't even remember now. But
so is that?
I did find my 2005 qualifier ones that were just last week. I can't think of what they were, but it's ridiculous to look at what they were back then. $25, maybe 40 for that game. I don't remember.
Yeah, I paid 110 for Denver, and they were obstructed view. So that's how it is crazy. It is crazy, but you know what? What's the option? You don't show up.
Well, the option is you go to bigger stadiums where you can make
it cheap. Yeah,
make it a little cheaper in some of these sections so you can be louder. The one
that's a fair point.
It's the one we talk about all the time that unfortunately we're too close to the NFL season, but Seattle should be used for this. I know, but that's a bigger bigger stadium.
The big problem with that one is it's a bigger stadium, but the big problem with that one is it's just an extra. Well, it's the extra mileage to fly, but it's also the extra time zone difference. And the guys in Europe, it just adds to the travel and the fatigue, and their clubs don't want them doing that, I'm sure.
The last round they went to Salt Lake City, so I mean, you're talking about one time zone difference. You're really not talking.
But I mean, if you're playing in Europe, your season was over anyway.
But let's go around before that. Weren't they in San Jose?
Yeah, I mean, there certainly are games that still violate that, so maybe that makes the point moot. But I know part of the reason they don't host as many qualifiers on the West Coast has to do with travel time for players back and forth.
And I'm sure that's certainly part of it. But then when you look, and then the other part of it is your two stadiums, you have to put down a temporary surface, and those are usually, without the amount of time you need, they're going to be a dumpster fire. I would love to see Portland figure out how to grow grass in that stadium. That would be a nice place to put a game, except you're not going to play it on the turf. And Seattle too, anytime they put down the fake grass, and they can't do it now because it's too close to the NFL, but it's a terrible field with the grass on it for the most part. But I agree. You've got to look at some other venues other than Columbus and Kansas City at some point. We haven't been to DC in a long time.
Well, I mean, that stadium is about to fall down.
They have another one there. I guess you could say in Maryland.
I suppose they could play at where the Redskins play now. Yeah, I hadn't even, the Barcelona plays there all the time when they come here. So, but yeah, then you're running the risk of, can we actually sell 90,000 tickets?
True. Again, if you want to put down I don't know, you'd have to look at just Philadelphia or Chester, I guess.
People are asking what jersey you're wearing, TJ.
I'm wearing Guernsey today.
I assume that's Guernsey.
I got Guernsey today. It was wear your favorite jersey to work day, and that was the one I chose today because, again, Chris, you said something.
Coworkers,
because you're a soccer hipster.
They've got like their Bears and Cubs jerseys, and he's wearing fucking Guernsey FC. What is that?
The guy next to me had a Westbrook Brian Westbrook jersey on, so I didn't feel as bad at that point. No, you wake up with that kind of like Han Solo. I've got a bad feeling about this. That was how I kind of felt this morning, and I'm like, we're going to go without the U.S. today because, if I have a bad feeling and I wear it and the result I guess wouldn't have changed. So.
I took my shot of tequila. It did not work today, that's for sure.
You got a good buzz going now with the wine.
No, I didn't have enough beers during the game, so I just opened the wine before the show. So
is that one of those wine glasses that doesn't have the stem?
No, this one does.
Okay, I thought I only saw no stem. Okay, very fancy, elegant.
I have a stemless glass at my house.
Stemless.
Yes, I don't think used to live in my house who broke them all.
I'm with Julian. I'm with anonymity. It wasn't the stadium. Anonymity says we're not going to be playing in stadiums in Russia. Well, shit. And even if we are we really going to do anything? I mean, a lot can happen between now and then, but do we really feel confident we're going to do anything?
Well, let's go back 4 years. Let's go back 4 years. And I'm looking for the optimistic side. Let's go back 4 years. How close was Mexico to not making it in?
Yeah.
And what did they do when they got there?
They made the round of 16. Did they make the quarterfinal? I can't remember. Something like that.
But they were good. They were a viable squad when they got there. Point being is you can be on fire. Well, didn't the U.S. go in as number 3 or 4 in the world at one point for
2006?
Oh, that was 2006. Yeah.
So I mean, you can be on a roll and get absolutely steamrolled when you get there, or you can be absolutely struggling like Mexico was.
We did get steamrolled by the referees. That's for sure.
No, my point being is at this point you can be on a roll and get steamrolled when you get there, or you can be scuffing along like Mexico, going through a coach for every game and turn around and just get it right.
Well,
So
or I mean, you can go back a year and Copa America. Suddenly, as long as we weren't playing Argentina, suddenly we kind of looked awesome. And then November hit, and we went to shit. And then we kind of got our act back together, and then this game happened, and some of the Gold Cup happened.
well, and let's face it for what it is. They didn't lose in the Gold Cup, and I know it was a B squad. They didn't exactly look good either.
No,
not until the very end. Yeah, the Costa Rica match we looked okay, but
Right.
not this Costa Rica match.
No.
And, I mean, given the 2, I probably would have taken the 3 points tonight and lost in the semifinal of the Gold Cup. But shows you what we think about the Gold Cup. I would much rather the 3 points tonight, but it didn't work out. So 6-0 aggregate score with Costa Rica.
Yeah,
That's not a rivalry. That's just a demolition all around.
Well, and if you want an update, Jovan Jones got one back in the 67th minute to make it 2-1 Honduras. Alvin Jones took a red card in the 58th minute for Trinidad and Tobago, and Aguirre took a red card in the 65th minute for Honduras. So this game is classic CONCACAF all over. 2 red cards, a penalty, a couple of goals.
Yeah.
Well, at least our goal differential apparently is +3. I'm trying to see if this has been updated tonight.
ESPN's didn't look like it had been.
Okay, well then our goal differential right now would be +1. Honduras would be -6. So wait, -7, I guess, with the current score.
Here we go. Okay,
So,
I've got it on Google right now. Our goal differential is 1. Honduras is -8 currently. And maybe that's going into the game.
that was going into the game. I was going to say
so it's -7, yeah.
So at least we've got that on them. But yeah, when we're looking at qualifying by goal differential, maybe it's just time to say we're not going to make the World Cup. I mean, I still think it's too easy to qualify from CONCACAF to say that truly. But when I kind of look at what we deserve, have we earned a spot in the World Cup? I don't think so.
Well, but if you're going off of that premise, though, Chris, realistically, you'd only take 2 teams from CONCACAF because none of the other 4 were based on that. At this point, I'd almost just say throw Canada in there for goodwill, and you can win the Fair Play Award or something because they'll apologize. But
see, I've known Canadians. They weren't nice. They were dicks. That's why I don't like Canada.
Every Canadian I know is nice. You know a Canadian. We have a mutual Canadian friend, although she's not. We do. Canada.
I've known Canadians in the past. But I have known some decent ones. I won't say it's not like Liverpool, where every person I've ever met from Liverpool was just an asshole. But
all right, so going forward, we need 3 points Tuesday night against Honduras. I mean, it's CONCACAF, so we could win 5-0. We could lose 4-0. There could be a fight. There could be a titty twister. Anything can really happen. But I don't know. The only thing that makes me confident that we might do well is that we do tend to do well after we've had a piss poor
when we have no other
yeah,
choice.
Right. So
except for Mexico, Costa Rica in November, just saying.
No, and that was a case where it was just
except for this qualification round.
Was our first home loss to Costa Rica since 1985? Did I see that stat right?
Is that right?
God, that'd be
maybe
nice.
Maybe our first qualifier home loss since '85.
Julian's got a good question. Is it time for a new starting goalkeeper? It's going to be soon if it's not now, but that's the question. Who?
I will say, I'll say some of the issues that had me picking Guzan for the last 2 years or so, 3 years really since I guess last World Cup, were on display tonight. Howard's ball control. Howard can make a pinpoint throw 40, 50 yards, but he plays the ball with his feet, and it's a bit like Casey Keller when he used to be goalie. Who the hell knows where it's going? Guzan is much better with his feet. The real issue is Howard's always been a better reaction keeper, and Guzan hasn't been a great keeper the last 12, 18 months, whatever. And maybe you can even say 2 years. So who do you turn to right now? You know, who else is really has the experience to kind of, you know, take the pressure on, take the mantle on their shoulders at this point in qualifying? It pretty much has to be Howard or Guzan. I don't think you're going to Raimondo by any means. And who else has the international experience? It's down to two guys, and maybe in a few months.
But it's like how do you get experience without giving somebody experience? Yeah. The reason why no one else has the experience is because
sure,
it's been two guys forever. So
sure, but I guess my point is, who has the experience to jump in effectively 6 months from a World Cup? I mean, I know it's like 10 months, but we got 2 months really to qualify. I mean, we have a month. We have 2 games in a month, and should we have to qualify for that in that fourth round, fourth place game? What we'll be playing in November. So we have effectively 2 months to qualify, and then you got a couple months, games to play in January, a couple games in March, and maybe 4 come May, June.
Yeah.
When are you going to get the chances? You aren't. I mean, that's why I think that's part of the reason why the Gold Cup, now we look at it and say it probably was Bruce auditioning those last 3 to 5 spots for the World Cup. Because realistically, short of, I don't know, having a Pulisic-like season for somebody else who is kind of off the radar or deep in the roster right now, Danny Williams or somebody, you're not going to make the World Cup at this point.
Ebscore says Fabian Johnson has been shit. That's true. Fabian Johnson was non-existent tonight, it seems. So,
he was out there.
Oh, yeah. Sorry. I mean, maybe that's because he was opposite from Pulisic, and they were running everything through Pulisic's side of the field. But Fabian. This is the second straight game from Fabian where he's been poor, and I love Fabian. So it's not like it's not like I hate Timmy Chandler, because I do. I love Fabian, and he's just had a couple bad games, and I don't know what that means. Does that mean that he's done? Does that mean that he's going to bounce back? I have no idea. But we need him to be better than he was tonight. So
I don't know. I just got hypnotized by that Zeusy man bun. That was just unreally horrid to look at.
It's full. It's thick.
It was horrid to look at. It really hurt my eyes. It really did.
I'm actually with Dominic. I'm flip-flopping on this. I think Fabian needs to go back to left back. And Chris and I were both very strongly that Fabian needs to be in the midfield because he's one of our best players. But I think you kill 2 birds with 1 stone. You move Fabian back, you get a more solid player over Villafana, and you hopefully fix the Fabian problem that we've got going. So yes, agreed. Let's move him back to left back. But I don't know if that's happening. Bruce seemed to indicate when he came in that he didn't like all the flip-flopping of positions that Jurgen did, and he wanted to keep guys stable. So maybe he's just going to ride Fabian out in left midfield or whatever till the end, but it doesn't seem like it's working.
In that case, I mean, if you don't like the flip-flopping, though, I have to kind of question why did Ream start?
Good point.
Because it would seem that Omar and Beasler are both ahead of him.
Omar's fine, right? Is there something we don't know? That was my only thought, because otherwise,
I mean, maybe he doesn't. Bruce or Omar himself don't consider Omar to be 100% game fit. I mean, he did just play the other day.
He played for Pachuca, the 23rd.
Yeah, right. He didn't play great at the time, but he had a game on the bench and a game playing, so he was at least active before the international break happened. But he was out with kind of an undisclosed injury for 3 weeks.
I mean, so, you don't know. Maybe it was flaring up or whatever.
That there's still something. Yeah.
Yeah. It's I mean, I don't like to agree with Rafa Marquez on anything, but maybe Tim Ream really does suck. So, yeah, but I mean, he wasn't totally to blame on that goal. He just got worked hardcore, but he wasn't, like we talked about at the beginning of the show, Howard was out of position and it seemed like Cameron was dragging ass to come over and help. So, but
yeah, and I'm sure it was discussed, but I was still getting Charlie to bed. But where was Cameron on the second goal?
I don't even remember seeing him.
I know you
I
weren't.
Can't remember the second goal right now.
It went right between. It went right between them, but it looked like that was where Cameron was supposed to be, because he's the one that went sliding across after the ball went in the goal. I think it was kind of like, oh, I'm trying. Cameron was not exactly good tonight, and I saw this earlier in the comments, so I don't remember who to give credit to for this, but it was, or maybe I saw it on Twitter, and I get it. Cameron plays for Stoke, but Stoke doesn't exactly play soccer either. So, and I think I saw that on Twitter before I came on here, and I thought that was kind of summed up the night that way. So okay, so the questions become, okay, we don't have Altidore can't play next week.
Yeah,
he's out.
Yes.
Do you start Dempsey? I
think Dempsey starts, especially right now when we have to score at this point. I mean, screw it. Kill him on the field. We have
I think he might go Dempsey and Jordan Morris. I just have a feeling he does a complete swap. I mean, we're all going to lose our minds if it's Wando. If it's Wando, we're just going out in style. But
and if it's Wando, Wando will score a hat trick.
I'm only half joking, but if we start Wando and lose Tuesday night, that might end USfanTV. That's it, folks. We've seen it all. We're done.
I would assume Ream doesn't start.
That's all, folks.
I would assume Ream is not going to start. I mean, and I heard Twellman, and I don't know why I was listening to Twellman at any point, but he did reference that. Does Bruce make wholesale changes kind of like he did, almost like two different sets of teams, like he did with Mexico in the last round?
We had this question between ourselves last week.
Wando. Nice job, Adam. That's good.
Adam wins the night. We had that question amongst ourselves. Like, does he have two complete teams running? We didn't suspect it. Maybe we should lean on our informant that let us know that San Wando would be making the roster along with Roldan. Does Roldan get to start now? We're just gonna blow it out of the water.
What does our guy know? What does he know? That is the question.
Our contact is watching. He or she, this person, they shall remain nameless and unannounced, but should inform
Are they bringing back Klinsmann? Just an idea.
Alex is straight up trying to get Wenger in. There's nobody on earth who thinks that anymore, I don't think, right?
If that were to happen, would Chris's head actually explode?
I have been an active member of Twitter the last week.
But if Bruce got fired for Wenger,
last few days in particular,
actually explode?
Oh my God.
He's going to have us doing some sort of calisthenics or something that he thinks is going to get us up to speed. I mean, if we lose, here's a question. This is I asked this. I asked this after we lost to Mexico. If we lose Tuesday night, do we fire Bruce Arena?
No.
My guess would be no, because I don't think they can do anything, and I think the likelihood is he's still going to qualify.
Yeah, not what will happen, because I don't think that they will. But if we do, would you would it make any kind of sense to do that? And I guess it only makes sense if you know who you're bringing in and you know what you're getting for the next couple of matches.
I have two. I guess maybe my biggest issue with that is I don't feel like now is the time to make kind of existential changes, like big picture changes to U.S.
we
soccer.
have to qualify first. Yes.
And I think the next manager, next coach, whatever we're calling him, needs to be a big picture person. And you're not bringing that person in with 2 games left to go in a qualification cycle.
No.
If we don't qualify, then you make the move, maybe.
Obviously, he's done if we don't.
Maybe even go interim coach until after the World Cup, and then you hire somebody. But I don't see us. I don't think there's any situation in which you do that. And nothing else, Bruce can always go, come on, you handed me a flaming bag of shit. I did what I could.
And left it. And if they lose this one, he left it a flaming bag of shit.
Yeah. But I think he has the clout with U.S. soccer to kind of get away with going, come on, you screwed me over. What do you want? And then go, yeah, maybe so.
Yeah, this is also the most talented team we've ever had, on paper at least. It's just up to a manager to make the right selections and make the right lineups and do it tactically right. Other teams have improved too, but this team blows our. Last time Bruce was managing, the roster did not look nearly this good top to bottom. But that said, we still have huge deficiencies and huge problems to address, as we saw tonight. So. All right. Have we hit the end of the road?
What do we think for Honduras on Tuesday? What's the prediction?
Fuck. I don't know.
Damn.
Mine is 1-0 Honduras. I don't believe in us right now.
It's the principle. I cannot agree with you, Chris. The principle is there. I can't agree with you, because that was exactly what I was thinking on this one.
I wish I had that Boys to Men song to queue up anonymity. That would be awesome right now. It feels like we should be playing that right now, but Just is saying 4-0 USA. God, I would love that. Ivan says 2-1 Honduras. Jim says 0-0. That feels about right to me. Dominic says 0-0 or 1-1. I'm going to say 0-0. A scoreless draw.
I don't see it. Not when your center backs part like the Red Sea, you're going to give up a goal.
There is that.
Part like a Honduran whore, a Honduran.
Wando 90 plus 3. Apple Juice says, if that happens, I might have to buy myself a Wando jersey.
Oof.
So I shouldn't say things like that. I'm going to be held to it.
Yeah, you're going to be held to it. That's for damn sure.
Wando hat-trick own goals? Is he credited with a hat-trick if they're all own goals? Oh, wait. You're saying a hat-trick of own goals? So literally he scores 3 goals against us.
That would also end the channel. That would we would wrap up at that point, I think. Say our goodbyes. Alejo says, hopefully this is Ream's last game for the US. I think at least starting it should be, unless we're in desperate need. He was not good at all. But it just, the back is, our guy Alex, who was at the match, did a video I posted a couple days ago on his channel, and he said, he called our back four shaky and questionable, and tonight that could not have been more right. So,
yeah, he kind of hammered them at halftime too, except Zusi. He liked Zusi, which all in all, I mean, Zusi may have been the least not terrible player tonight. I mean, even like Pulisic had, Pulisic moves, but even he, his finishing.
I didn't notice Zusi being bad.
Wasn't great.
I mean, I might go back and watch, but I didn't notice Zusi being terrible. I noticed him on the attack a couple times. Yeah, I don't want to do that to myself either, but I noticed him on the attack, looking fine, but he is what he is. I mean, he's not. So he's kind of like when we have Alejandro Bedoya out there.
I was mesmerized by the man bun, but I agree. Zusi was not the problem. But if he was not terrible, the best of the not terrible, isn't that kind of like being the tallest midget?
Yeah, it's. People are talking about John Brooks. Yes, John Brooks, when he's on, I miss him entirely. But I mean, think about John Brooks when we saw him in the Costa Rica match, the first one in their place. It was a terrible performance by him. So, and maybe he was hurt. Things were weird. That whole time was weird, but this was bad too. So, I don't feel great about, Zusi is slow like an old hag, says Poonslayer. Not false. But I don't think he was slow, but I don't think he was bad. So,
you should see him set that man bun though. Lightning.
Can we be done with that hairstyle? I really hate it. I really hate it. Jim says we need a whole new team. Maybe not a whole new team, but we feel like we're in a bit of a rut right now. Even in winning the Gold Cup, it felt like we were poor. It hasn't felt. I guess I was happy with the point at Azteca, and I felt great about the 2-0 win at Trinidad in Denver versus Trinidad and Tobago, but we weren't exceptional in that match. We were fine, I guess, in Mexico. That was a good match that where Bruce got the tactics right. But kind of overall, it feels like we're kind of just slogging along. I'm not really enjoying this time. Although,
but did you really expect that much difference with Bruce Arena other than to slog through it?
No, that's what he does. Yeah, I mean, we've seen this before. We've been down this road before. So,
Iron Bruce Arena.
What did you say?
Iron Bruce Arena, like Iron Mike Tyson.
Yes.
It's not that he's a particularly good fighter. He can just take a lot of hits and hit back harder. Except we're not hitting back harder.
All right, boys.
I wouldn't mind it if Kellen Rowe was available. Unfortunately, he was not available for these games, but I liked what I saw that kid in the Gold Cup. I wished he hadn't been sent home.
Would you does Acosta start on Tuesday?
Not over Bradley.
I think he might.
But maybe alongside Bradley.
I'm of two minds here. I mean, on the one, we can't give anything up. On the other, we have to score. So part of me says we may just go balls to the wall offense, 3-5-2 or something, and we just try to attack because we got to get some wins.
We got to get.
I don't know.
I
don't know that I can see Bruce truly doing it, but we're sort of at that point where there's 2 outs, the ball's in the air. You're not going to wait to see if the guy catches it. You're running.
I expect Honduras to park the bus and be very, very physical, a little bit chippy, and hopefully they're going to try to get under our skin, and they're going to try for, their goal will come on a counterattack. I assume that's the game plan, right? I mean, it's what I would fully expect from them. So if we can jump down their throats early, that ruins that whole game plan. And then maybe opens it up like what we saw in San Jose. But if we don't, by San Jose, I mean California, not Costa Rica. Obviously, we didn't play Honduras in Costa Rica. But if we don't, it's going to be a grim Tuesday, folks.
Yeah, Michael, 3-1-3-2 might be an option too. Sandra, I can't agree. Wenger is a tactically terrible coach. I can't support him. I've never been a fan of his on-field managerial prospects. Ivan, I miss Leggett too. I wish he would come back from that foot injury. I'm afraid that because it's going to take so long for him to get back, by the time he has a chance to truly, get opportunities with the team again, it's going to kind of be too late to make it back into the squad.
No, and I saw Bozo put up there, bring in Jesse Gonzalez for Tuesday. Now I would like that, but at this point, and what was it? His paperwork wasn't ready for the Gold Cup. Did we run into that?
Yeah, but then it was done, and he came in when they brought in the new 6 players. So he's eligible. He's just not on the team. They went with Ramondo instead of Jesse Gonzalez.
I'm guessing his extended look at national team play will be Camp Cupcake will be when he gets his look.
Probably, yes.
Yeah.
And that's when he should. Yeah, Michael, I agree. That was my thought, him or Bill Hamid at this point, because I don't have faith in Howard or Guzan doing anything other than being acceptable at best at this point. It's deflating. So I guess we'll see if Tuesday changes anything. Chris, I think you're right though. I think you almost got to go attack and see and try and get all 3 points to make it a lot easier, because Honduras is going to be tied at 8 points each, although their goal differential is.
They'll still be behind us, but nonetheless, we're kind of reaching that point where Panama's only a point behind us. Who did they play TNT on Tuesday?
I'm looking.
I think they play someone who they are. I mean, they're expected to win
because Costa Rica's at Mexico.
The home game on Tuesday. Right?
Costa Rica and Mexico play Tuesday, right?
Yeah.
So it would have to be.
Panama has TNT at home, then, right? I think that's right, because I know we were looking at it as Panama will probably lose the first game at Mexico, win the second game at home, and I think it was TNT.
Yes.
So we have to fend off them. We have to fend off Honduras now.
But anyways, does anyone know what's going on with Mexico? It looked like the Azteca was underwater the last time I saw, and I haven't son anything since we started doing the show. So
0-0 16th minute.
It's they're playing.
They started.
It was
they started fighting naval battles out on the field.
It looked like they could. It was bad.
Like the Coliseum.
All right, so we're back. We'll be back Tuesday after the Honduras match to hopefully be a lot happier than we are now. If you don't know, this is USfanTV. We do shows typically on Tuesday and Thursday nights where we talk about soccer as it relates to like the national team and our players abroad and that sort of thing. But we didn't do one last night because there's a game tonight. We do post-match shows too. So this is what this is. If you're just discovering us, we have a website. It's USfanTV.com. We have Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram. They are all USfanTV. We do not have Snapchat because we hate Snapchat. We have Craigslist. We're on Craigslist, but you have to know where to look. And it's not under USfanTV. You have to know the secrets there. If you know we're on YouTube. You know we're on YouTube because you're watching YouTube. Subscribe if you haven't. We are very close to 600 subscribers, so that's cool for us. Please subscribe if you haven't. And thanks for watching. If you're just finding this, or if you're one of the old timers, like a lot of you guys I'm seeing there that are on the chat. Thanks to you guys because you guys are awesome. TJ, do you have any final words tonight?
Arena out, Wenger in.
Don't do that. That's not what we want to do.
Fuck
Although
Wando.
it might help both teams. I mean, maybe. Chris?
I'll go with fuck Wando.
Fair.
Fuck San Wando now.
Yes, he's been sainted. Chris, what are your final words?
What a terrible, terrible fucking night. I don't even feel like making the jokes tonight, so I'll just say you're done.
Uzbekistan, here we come. You're done.
We need to learn how to